What's up, guys? Your boy TGK, and I just got off of Twitter. I was listening to this space call between ReviewDork and a bunch of AMC, what I'll call them, influencers. And this is called Space Call, but in that call, there was really no space to talk. Let's get into it. Have you seen Halloween Kills? Especially in the part where everybody's in the hospital. You've seen that part, right? Where they're chasing the guy that came out of the asylum. You know, he's an escapee. Well, everybody on that call that was attacking, yes, we'll say attacking, ReviewDork, y'all basically reminded me of that crowd. So therefore, I'm gonna wear this mask for this video. All right, I'm not gonna wear that mask for the entire video, but I do want to just give you my overall thoughts on this entire debacle, that I'll call it, a debacle of a mess, and especially in that call. First things first, here's my advice to whoever runs these calls moving forward. Just advice, right? Especially if you're gonna come after someone that did apparently make a mistake in their tweets. If you haven't been aware of this, if you're an AMC APE and if you follow YouTube, you probably know about ReviewDork. ReviewDork had put out a tweet basically giving that advice to, like, if you have dry powder and you don't have any more money to buy into the stock, there's a different way. Or if you bought in too high, there was just his quote unquote his style of trading, right? And he offered that to whomever was affected. Now me, I've been an APE since January, and I saw that tweet and just kind of moved on. Like, I thought it was kind of cool, but again, I don't know too much about it. So I could see how someone that's kind of new could be impressioned or be easily impressionable about it, right? And I do applaud the ape community that kind of tried to call him out or did call him out. But just the way that they went about it was the issue for me, and then how the call transpired was the issue for me, and then how Review was unable to not only just kind of like to kill this entire divisiveness, to just kind of own it, you know, before they dug into that deep level. But I'm going to break it all down to you in a very, very, very summarized version of what I heard on that call. I was on that call for over 3 hours. Trust you me, I wanted to jump on that call and just call everybody out for what the hell this was. So instead of doing that, I'm gonna do an unmonetized video. I lied, I'm gonna monetize this because it takes a lot of effort to edit it, so I deserve to monetize. This video will be unmonetized because I am an AMC APE, so I'm not doing this to get any clout or clarity. I just really was inspired by this call and I want to share my thoughts on this. So let's get straight into my thoughts on this call. First things first, so here's my thoughts on this call. I tweeted this out. I'm gonna show this tweet on here. There was a bunch of ego in here. There was a bunch of a need for validation. Let me pull this chain out. No, I'm playing. There was a bunch of fakeness also going on in here. A bunch of, you're not a victim, I'm a victim. A bunch of, you're an expert, no, I'm an expert. So it was just a bunch of going back and forth, and literally this dead horse was beaten over and over and over again. So early on, ReviewDork is on this call and he was trying to explain why he sent that tweet out. And the people on the call, I think there's one guy that I remember, Rocker or Rocky or whatever. He kept calling everybody fuckers, and it was kind of weird to me. But anyway, so we're on this call and all these people, they seem very knowledgeable too. Let me give them credit where credit is due. They seem very knowledgeable. They know about this stock market. They know about their capital gains tax. They know about all this stuff when it comes to leveraging, cost average, all that good stuff, right? I'm still new at this stuff and I'm still learning. So I learned quite a bit of these things in this call. However, the way they approach this call into being able to communicate with someone as big as ReviewDork, because he does have a huge following, if you're going to communicate with him in a certain way, you have to have a better approach. And I just felt that this approach was extremely sloppy. And I know they opened the door for people to just give their 2 cents and ask him questions. But my only advice would be like, you know what, forget that. Whoever the main host is, you and ReviewDork, y'all should have just that conversation instead of involving everybody else's emotions, because there's a bunch of stuff, a bunch of money riding on this stock. And I'm on this call just unbiased because I got money in this stock as well. I would like for it to moon as well. But if it doesn't moon, I still got to go live my life. And if it does moon, I still got to go live my life. So I'm not going to allow a call to just influence me so negatively that I'm going to become emotional on the call, right? So in this call, ReviewDork is trying to speak, but he is getting cut off every single time. I think by the main host. I forgot her name. He's getting cut off every time. Every time he gives a point, they want to rebuttal the point. Every time he tries to get to rebuttal their point, they want to rebuttal that point. So it was a rebuttal for rebuttal for rebuttal, and we got nowhere. They rebuttal so much that he had to leave the call to go pick up his mom, right? So he comes back on the call. But let me tell you about what happened before he got back on the call. Before he got back on the call, ReviewDork, if you watch this, please watch this. And all the other people that were on that call, I hope you watch this, because I'm going to call all of you motherfuckers out, even the Fokker guy. All of y'all were talking so much shit about this man. Even there was certain people in here, I always knew there was something fishy about him. Oh, he seems like the me and the Hellcat kind of guy. Oh, this and that. He's a scammer or this and that. So much shit was going on. And I'm not here to defend ReviewDork, but I was on this call unbiased. This is my first time, right? I saw a notification on my Twitter saying ReviewDork is on the call. So let me go check it out. And I'm checking this shot out. And when he left and they took over that call, they were allowing people to speak, right? So you got to raise your hand in the little thing, you get to speak. And these people, majority of them, were like, I never liked this guy. Always question this guy. And they were trying to offer this advice and trying to slander him. But in doing so, the main host repeatedly said, this is not to cancel ReviewDork. This is not to attack him. This is not any of that. This is to galvanize us as an AMC APE community. But on the contrary, if that was the case, why did you allow so many people to attack ReviewDork and influence a negative opinion about him and influence a different opinion about a new ape that is coming in to this damn community? So now we got these different apes that say this is their first time listening. Say I wasn't an ape. If I would have heard this call for the very first time and I was considering becoming an AMC ape, I would say the hell with that. But because I have been an ape, and I've been an ape since January, I bought the stock before anybody ever mentioned anything about a squeeze. I saw it at $5, and I knew historically it was at $30. I was like, oh, when it goes back up to 30, I'll sell. But then this whole ape community came about. Trade Trades was really the first one to me. I was like, you know what? I'll stick it out, right? And I stuck it out. And I had quite a bit of fucking shares. I had 200 shares when I was employed, became unemployed, had to sell some to make it. But I still have the majority of my position. Now, aside from me, let's not talk about me. Let's talk about this call. Sorry about that. The light was dimming, so now we back with a better light. So where was I at? I was talking about, let's talk about this call. So in the whole, basically the in-between part from when Review left the first time into before he came back, there was a bunch of belittling, disrespectful comments towards ReviewDork. And even the host was like, when you tell me this, it makes me even question more. And then nobody was not trying to stop the whole perceived notion that this was a cancellation of ReviewDork or a witch hunt of ReviewDork. Nobody was stopping that. They didn't keep it strictly on the stock because that's what it was about. This is what this whole thing is about, is the AMC stock. And a lot of that conversation was not about the stock. They were attacking a man personally. They were attacking a man about how, he is a scammer and all this stuff, right? I feel like I'm going to repeat myself in this instance. But now let's fast forward and let's get to the entire part where Review got back into the call. And he was actually allowed an opportunity to talk. But before he was allowed an opportunity to talk, the host was like, Review, I just want you to know that, we appreciate you for coming on here and that this is not a attack on you or a cancellation on you or this and that. But as a listener, like you didn't keep that wave of conversation throughout the entire conversation with all the people that are on that call. You never kept that sentiment. You listened to everybody's negative stories and it was never about what he said about his style of trading on the stock. If that was the entire purpose, that's what the entire topic of discussion should have been. It should have never been about digging into his past, what he's done, or Ami and the Hellcat, all this stuff. You're trying to basically say this man is guilty of something that he's not even on trial for, if he ever is going to be on trial for anything. So a lot of this stuff was just like, if you never liked him, and you never fucked with him, but you're on this call, then why are you so emotional about it? Why are you so attached to what Review is saying? Is it because, you want attention too? Just like I guess me making this video is getting attention, if it gets attention. Because if it doesn't, I don't care. At the end of the day, I'm not monetizing this. All right, I went too far. But just like everybody on that call, they lied. I lied too. I'm monetizing this shit. I'm speaking because I'm speaking from a perspective of an ape that if I were to listen to that call and I didn't have a stock, I wouldn't buy that shit. But now as an ape holder, and if someone new is listening to this and they don't see someone that's talk about this mess of a call, this fumble of a call, this drop of a bag of a call, then who is going to do it? No one else is going to do it. These other people in that call, Matt Kors ain't going to do it. Trey Trades ain't going to do it. Wretch Capital ain't going to do it. Keenan Grace ain't going to do it. They have a different style of content, right? The beautiful thing about my channel is a random channel. So I can talk about whatever, but you're not going to expect this kind of content from me moving forward. But y'all inspired me to talk about it. And because y'all inspired me, I needed to call out the bullshit that y'all were trying to call the bullshit out on review for. So, and I get it. The advice that he gave, and I listened to everyone's, how you say, constructive criticism. Their constructive criticism was smart, was strong. It was based on actual factual evidence. But when it broke down and people got emotional is when I lost a lot of the respect for everything that they were giving me. And I learned a lot. But also, you can't also bring in your emotions into this shit. You know it. If you're a stockholder and you see your portfolio go down 50%, even 10% is a lot. But, you know, we got to hodl. We got to hold. We've been holding for 10 months. Why are we so emotional now? We can't be emotional. This isn't the best time to be emotional. At this time, we need to have the utmost confidence that this shit's going to the moon. But by judging this call, y'all want to judge a guy that has barely over 100,000 subscribers or 200,000. And I'm not shitting on it. I only got like 1,000. But what I'm saying is we have 4 million stockholders of AMC. And you want to basically kill this man for a bad opinion or a bad trade intake. And he only has an influence of 100,000 plus on YouTube. He doesn't have the influence that Trey Trays have. He doesn't have the influence that Matt Kors had. And a lot of the people in those calls were trying to assume that he's jealous of those guys because he's not a part of the Fox, invite to that show with, what's his name? Charles Payne, I guess. So all this stuff is like, you guys never liked this guy to begin with. And then all I hear is, oh, I love ReviewDork, but I just don't like this. Or I love ReviewDork when he talks about coke and hookers and all this stuff. But none of it sounded genuine to me. A lot of this shit sounded very passive aggressive as a way to come off as people that fucked with him. But in reality, do you actually fucked with him? I just thought there was a different motive. Anyway, so Review gets back on the call. And the one main guy that was talking the main shit while Review was off, he gets on there. He's like, Review, I love you, man. You brought so much to this community and blah, blah, blah. He was singing his praises. But I'll give him credit. He did call him out on the shit that he said in that tweet. But before he was even talking to Review about that, while he was gone, he was talking about, man, if he doesn't come in here and say, quote unquote, I'm not quoting it, but if he doesn't come in and apologize or make it right, I'm unsubscribing and I'm done with him and this and that. And then when he's back on the call, he's like, I love you, dog. But I just disagreed with you. I think it was a fucking bad idea. So I left this call not wanting to listen to this call again because there was a bunch of entitlement, a bunch of ego trip. Everybody in that call had an ego, even Review. Now let me get back on ReviewDork. He was defensive. I'd be defensive too if there was like 8 people coming after my neck. And then people telling me, man, get this guy off the call and all this disrespect, right? And a lot of the people were saying, no disrespect, no disrespect. But there was a bunch of disrespect on this call. And ReviewDork, to his credit, kept his composure. Yes, he didn't probably apologize the best way that he should have. When I'm trying to look at it from that perspective, like, damn, I could have kind of killed all of this divisiveness if I just would have came out, ate what they were saying, and moved on. And especially when ReviewDork said, oh, okay, I'll take the high road on this. Don't say that. Just do it. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things that I wish this call would have been less more about. My feelings are hurting. ReviewDork, validate me. I wish it was less about that and more about, hey, Review, can you really explain like what you meant about this and why this doesn't hurt the tax? And then depending on how he answers, if you know the information, be like, look, Review, I think you're wrong on this because based on this information, this is what the actual facts are. It was never a conversation. It was a attack you, attack me, attack you. No, I'm right. You apologize to us. You apologize to me because I got 25 years of stock trading, or I got $100,000 worth of AMC stock. Who gives a fuck? You got into this stock knowing the risk of it. You got into the stock knowing the risk of it. I put in a good little decent coin, but for me, a decent coin is a lot. And it might be what 100,000 is for that one person. But at the end of the day, you got people that are coming out here, oh, I have 2 kids and, I put all my money in here. That's your fault. You shouldn't do that. Oh, I'm so much is riding on this. If this doesn't go to the moon, that's your fault. You shouldn't be depending on what celebrities or what influencers say to give you hope for your stock. And you shouldn't even depend on what I'm saying because I'm not going to say anything about it. All I'm saying is I'm just calling out the shit. And I did my own due diligence. And if whatever ReviewDork offered as far as selling your position down so you can finally see some green, whatever the case may be, I would have looked at that and be like, all right, if I bought in at $72, I'm pretty sure I would do my DD before I buy again. I would hope you would. And that's just an assumption. So I probably shouldn't assume. So let me call myself out for that. But anyway, all I'm saying is at the end of the day, whether you're an influencer on YouTube or an influencer on Twitter and you got a following because of AMC, you're no better than ReviewDork and you know better than your damn self. So a lot of us need to eat some damn humble pie and shut the fuck up and try to make this damn AMC stock go to the moon, because I would like to pay off my car and I would like to have a nice little vacation and I would like to have another option to invest in different things. But other than that, guys, it's been your boy TGK. I don't really want to hear anybody's opinions because my opinion is right. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.